Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms Chats, where I've been going live to help families understand what they need to know to survive distance learning and having their kids go to school during the pandemic. And lately, we've been talking about back to school, and we also are talking about new education options like virtual schools that are expanding. And so our guest today is Kurtis Indorf, who has been working at Greatheart, Texas for a while, but he's taking on a new role as the director of Greatheart Online, which is going to be a new virtual school version of the classical education curriculum that Greatheart is known for. So Kurtis has a tremendous resume. You'll find the whole thing in the blog post that's just linked in the description of the video. So, but the highlights are, so I mean, he's worked in various parts of the country, including like Colorado and on the East Coast, and he's worked in school leadership and like in the nonprofit world. So, but I'm just really grateful that he works at Greathearts. And back when kids were going to school on campus, I'd sometimes see him in the lobby and deliver spirit shirts and things like that. So, but I'm really happy to get to work with Kurtis on things like expanding Greathearts. So, Kurtis, welcome. And there's been a lot of buzz already, even since we shared the news yesterday in the discussion group about Greathearts Online. So, so welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So I wanted to just jump right in with, like in the blog post, I talk a lot about, I am a Greathearts parent, and my kids have been experiencing distance learning at Greathearts since March, since after spring break part 2. And I know that the students are starting to come back on campus. Even like at my kids' school, some kids are coming back as early as Monday. But I wanted to ask you, in terms of the Greathearts core purpose, how have the schools been able to provide distance learning to students while staying true to the core purpose of Greathearts, right? The truth, beauty, goodness, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Inga, first, thank you so much for having me today. I'm grateful that we started talking about why, the purpose. Before we jump in, I do just want to acknowledge that today is September 11th, and that 19 years ago, over 3,000 American men, women, and children were killed in a terrorist attack. And for our students, they don't remember that. But for many of you watching, you remember that. I know I remember where I was, and I remember when I saw, and I remember who I heard it from. And I remember that my wife was 20 blocks away in New York City. And so today's a heavy day for that reason, with a lot of emotion. And so I just want to thank everyone for being here to join us nonetheless. And thank you, Inga, for having us here today. So just
observe the moment. If I can interject, I'm planning to talk about it with my kids at dinner. That's a lot of learning happens at our house just around the dinner table. And like my husband and I will bring something up, and the kids will ask questions, and then because it's stuff that happened before they were born, then it's interesting to hear it through their eyes. So we've been talking about like presidential politics and tax policy and things like that, and the kids are like, wait, what? And then they start asking questions, and then it's that questioning that I feel like is really important. It's something I cherish from growing up. But yeah, it is a somber day. I remember being in downtown Austin and looking at the state capitol out my window and wondering, how widespread was this going to be? And I think folks, especially in New York and DC, really felt a shadow over them and felt really unsafe.
Yeah. Well, we don't get into tax code at my dinner table, but I aspire to at some point in my life we'll get there. So to your question, I'm just really excited. We have hundreds and thousands of families who are excited to have a timeless education, and online has removed a lot of the traditional barriers. A $30,000 building and enough demand to do that, to serve more and more families across the state of Texas. And when we started, we weren't sure what this is going to look like. Greathearts focuses on the real, on the concrete, on the good books and texts and works that have stood the test of time. And we really had to figure out, thanks to our really ingenious faculty and leaders, how do we do that? How do we do that? So first, it's about our curriculum. Our curriculum has stayed the same. The books, the texts, the work, the math, the art, the history, the science, it has stayed the same. Now, the form has to change. You can't do the same things online as you can in person. And in some cases, you can do some additional or more things online than in person. But the core content underneath that all stays the same. It's equivalent, not identical, because it does need to be tweaked, but it is the same. And that's really important to staying on mission and on purpose for us. Second, we are trying to stay concrete and grounded in the real. I think actually someone on your blog posted the other day about how they were watching their kid in class and the teacher said, okay, show me your math problems. And I watched my daughter do this, my eldest is in second grade. She's doing math on a whiteboard. She shows her work to her teacher. Her teacher scans the page and cold calls on students and gives feedback in the moment. And that is grounded in the real, right? That is grounded in the concrete. She has math manipulatives that she's working through, right? She's doing Spalding with handwriting, with pencil and paper. And so we are continuing to integrate that into our work. Regardless of whether it's online, it's sometimes trickier and we're figuring out how to do it best, but it's still important that we stay grounded in the concrete and the real as much as possible. A third thing is, because these are such steadfast pillars for us, unlike a lot of other schools who have been forced to provide online education, we're not tempted by bells and whistles. The bells and whistles of gamifying education or of the bright shiny object or software, which can be great supplements if your family chooses to. But that's not what our education model is going to look like. And so we take a real careful, discerning eye to what we incorporate and why. And we're eager to incorporate more with a really strong lens and filter. I'm thinking about poetry, for example. In Greatheart schools, students memorize poetry and they recite poems to their class and they get graded on their memorization, but also their enunciation of poems. And they learn to love poetry because it is a beautiful thing and it is an art form. It is something to gain satisfaction and joy from. Could we have, in fact, students record themselves reciting poetry and upload it and share it with the class instead? So, it's an idea that is still grounded in the work, in the real, in the concrete itself, but is a way of leveraging technology more so to stay true to our mission. The fourth thing for us is we're really trying to keep community, relationships, love, joy, trust front and center. The relationship between a teacher and a student, between students, that community formation is essential. And we've made some strides in that area. We're eager to continue to learn and grow and get better at it as time goes on. So those are some of the ways we're staying true to our mission and we're realizing our core purpose through a different platform of online. And we're eager to continue to strengthen our ability to realize our mission and our ability to deliver it online as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great explanation because it talks about what what are the essential elements of Greathearts, right? How is Greathearts tied into this tradition of the great books education, and what are those elements of the on-campus experience that are so core, right? Like the discussion among students and like how teachers inspire the students to think for themselves, and then how through the distance learning experience, the teachers have been so creative and have worked so hard to bring those experiences to life through distance learning. And I guess what the questions that are coming up in the group, people are wondering, and these things may still be on the drawing board, but like in the individual Greathearts campuses, I know there's some discretion. Each headmaster, has his or her way of kind of doing things and how they're guiding their teachers. But I think parents are wondering if Greathearts Online will be similar to how Greathearts distance learning has been at the individual campuses. So, what do you know so far about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So at Greathearts Texas, I've had the pleasure of working with our leadership team and our headmasters to set a vision for Greathearts Texas distance learning. And so Greathearts Online will fall under that same definition and the same general articulation of that vision. And so from one lens, it will be the same. From another lens, there are a lot of differences between our campuses based on what parents want, based on what student numbers are, based on staffing and faculty and numbers. And there's a whole number of instances between those. And so in the same way, there will be difference between Greathearts Online and other campuses. The way that I'm thinking about this and the way that we're thinking about this is as a research and development project to go, you have a fleet of ships. We have our fleet of schools that are all moving across the ocean together in this journey. And Greathearts Online is going to be leading that pack, and in some ways is going to be out ahead of it. So first thing we're going to do is we're hiring some really important leadership roles: a Greathearts Online headmaster, a Greathearts Online director of learning design, and a Greathearts Online director of IT. And those roles will all work closely with me for us to design the school. One of the first questions we're asking is, what are the best practices from within Greathearts Texas? What are they? How do we know what they are? Why do people like them? Why are they working? And how do we do more of that? So immediately that allows us to learn and learn faster. And then we'll also be codifying those practices and sharing them across all of our schools. And so one thing that I'm excited about is the creation of Greathearts Online is not just good for the students in it. It will also be good for all schools and for all families who are enrolled in Greathearts distance learning across our campuses in Texas. We do aspire to learn quickly, to bring in some senior external expertise, to continue to vet things carefully through the lens of, is this on mission and is this on purpose for us? And so in that way, it will be the same, but it will also be different. And we hope it to focus and to pioneer and to listen really intensely to families about what is and isn't working, and to change quickly.
Yeah, I think my experience as a parent has been seeing like rapid change. It seems like in the spring each week was a little different, which made it was in some ways a little stressful because it's like, wait, how are we doing it this week? But it was also encouraging because I could see things improving, and I all along the way I knew that the teachers were really putting their heart and soul into it, and they never stopped caring about the students. And I think that's what really comes through. Is like Greathearts Online, it will still be Greathearts teachers, and I think that's the not without which that makes it work.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I think one thing that it's come up in the questions also is, like, I think parents are wondering, I guess Greathearts Online, it like structurally it's different than the distance learning they're doing at their campus, right? So if a family is enrolled at a Greathearts campus currently, they can keep doing distance learning through that campus through the rest of the current school year, right? But in that Greathearts Online is going to be a separate. You mentioned hiring a headmaster. It's going to be like a separate school without a campus.
Correct.
Okay, so one thing that it's part of the challenge of doing distance learning is making sure that things like art and music and athletics, those have been really core to the on-campus Greathearts experience. So do you have a sense of how those things will be part of the Greathearts Online experience?
So again, we've had a lot of lessons learned here, and we're excited to continue to get a lot better. And one thing that I just think about is art. And Inga, I remember you sharing a post a few months ago about your daughter doing primary and secondary colors and gradations and sharing, and my daughter had that same assignment. And it was with colored pencils, and it was on a sheet of paper, and it was explicit instruction and practicing.
In fact, I have her notebook just over here, so I'm going to reach.
Yeah.
The joy of the home office, but yeah, it's wonderful. Go. Yeah, she has. Yeah,
and there's a few iterations of that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this one she was really excited because she got to pick purple, which is her favorite color. So yeah. Lots of shades of purple.
and then landscapes, foreground, background, midground. So we're continuing to do art online, and there's opportunity for us to get better at it and to improve in that area, but that remains the same. Music class is music class. Now, it's a lot harder to get 30 kids to sing a song simultaneously online without your audio coming in and off and all kinds of issues like that. But there's still explicit instruction and learning around musicians. As a classically trained pianist myself, I love listening and watching, kids across the state learn about music and to practice things. And in talking with some external experts, music education is something that there's a lot of opportunity in the online forum. There's real opportunity to provide explicit instruction in lessons, individualized lessons or small group lessons to students across the state without some of the barriers of a brick and mortar building. About how do I give lessons to one student when I have 27 other kids sitting here? That's no longer a challenge. And so I actually think there's a lot of opportunity as we think about music, as we think about art, as we think about performing arts and physical education. Those things will remain constant and front and center in our work because they are about our mission and they are about what we do. And honestly, I'm optimistic about the opportunity. I think there's a lot we'll be able to learn, and there's a lot we'll be able to do for families.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy hearing like strains of Handel or Vivaldi coming out of my son's room when he's listening. And then, he was wrestling with musical scales, and then he had like an aha moment where like it started to click for him. The mnemonics were working, and so like those happy sounds coming from his room. You're either like jamming out to the music, or just of like it's starting to make sense. There's a system here, and the light bulb going off. That's very encouraging, and that's all happening through distance learning, but the real learning is happening.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about, and this is covered in the blog post. It's also on the FAQs on this is the website for Greatheart's online. So I encourage families to visit that. They can read the FAQs as well. But I was wondering if you could talk more about the sort of the nuts and bolts of like sort of what stage it's at now, right? So now it's at the interest list stage, and then you're hiring key personnel, and what are some of the next steps that happen after that?
Yeah, so as you all know, this is happening very quickly. We are going as fast as we can to provide an excellent online education to families across the state. So we're getting support from funders, and we have financial commitments to help to pay for it. There's the waiver from the state. We got approval from our board of directors. And now we're at the stage of determining demand. How many families want to go to Greatheart's online? In what grade levels do they sit? And we're working on the next step will be internally for us thinking through a trifecta of three things. One, where is there demand? Two, where do we have the best teachers to provide this education? And three, in what grade levels can we provide the best online education in a second semester period of time? And those three factors together will cause us to land at a decision on what grade levels we will offer in this coming year. Also on the interest list, we're asking for your feedback on timeline. So there's 3 dates in there. I think it's a November 2nd, December 1st, and January 4th. We want to know from families about when they would want to start. And based on that feedback and based on grade levels and based on hiring, we'll be sharing more specifics on what are the grade levels of Greathearts Online in its first year, and at what time, on what date will it start. So those are some of the decisions and the pieces that are happening behind the scenes. There's a lot of moving pieces, but want to share that with all of you here. Based on that information, we'll communicate that out, and then we'll start having an open enrollment process, an application process. Families on the wait list will get first choice to sign up for Greathearts Online. It'll be a 1-week period of time. After that, it will open up to everyone across the state, because that's what this waiver allows us to do. Really excited about the opportunity to serve students in the country. Growing up in the middle of nowhere and going to a struggling school, I would have loved this opportunity. And so we're excited to serve families across the state, including right here in San Antonio.
So my friend's in, well, I have a friend who is dying to move back to Alpine, and she's like, we could still do Greathearts from Alpine. Yeah. Another friend is like, I could move to Marfa. It's like, yes, you could, because those towns might just be too small, to support. They would be too small to support a Greatheart school. The distances are too vast in West Texas, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're trying to remove the traditional barriers to access a timeless and excellent education. And so that's our mission. That's what we're all about, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah. So I'll jump in with the call to action, which is, so this is the interest list. So families in K through 12 who live in Texas can sign up in the interest list, but there's no guarantee. So it's unlikely that the online school would serve all of those grades, but depending on interest, I mean, so families should definitely sign up, right? And then they can express a preference about when they would like Greathearts Online for the current school year to become operational. And I guess the more people share this information, like share it on social media, tag your friends, email it to friends, text it to friends, but just, this has to get stood up very quickly. And so like the sooner parents find out about it, get signed up, the sooner that you have a sense about how many teachers to hire and what the start date is and things like that. But I remember this from, back in 2011 when I first heard about Greathearts, and it was definitely mom power. Lots of conversations on playgrounds, by the library, soccer field sidelines. Lots of word of mouth, and that's how these things get built.
It does. It's a timeline, and right now we're in the demand phase. We believe that this is something that families want. We have over 11,000 families on our wait list now in Texas. Wow. We have people asking for this, and so it's okay. We want to offer this because it is on mission for us, and it's a way for us to reach more families and students across the state. And so now we're at the stage of, let's see if that holds true. I am excited to share that, as of this morning, we had 336 individual family submissions to the interest list, which adds up to hundreds and hundreds of kids across the state. 24% in Dallas and Irving, 7% in Fort Worth, 52% in San Antonio. Thank you, San Antonio. And 17% from other parts of Texas. So excited and eager to continue to share so that we can shape our plans by listening closely to you. That's what we try to do at Greathearts, while staying true to our mission of cultivating the hearts and minds of kids towards truth, beauty, and goodness. And that's what we'll continue to do with Greathearts Online.
Yeah. Is there, I know you mentioned that it's currently a 1-year waiver from TEA, and I know there's other schools like International Leadership of Texas that have also jumped in and are offering, this. And then one thing that's interesting, as I've researched, virtual schools, and we have a guide to virtual schools on the SA Charter Moms site. Those schools in the past have only been grades 3 through 12. So, but Greathearts Online will be able to offer grades K through 12 provided that there's demand for all those grades. So, but it's a matter of school leaders and parents and families advocating that this waiver should continue for the long run, right? Is that a good summary of the situation?
Yeah, that is correct. We are grateful to take advantage of the waiver right now. We're hopeful that the waiver will stand, and that, more importantly, we can work to affect some statute, some law, allowing this opportunity for more students to receive an online education from an excellent school system across Texas. So we have already started those conversations, those kind of political advocacy conversations, with some other organizations and some elected officials, and we're eager to continue that. I will say that it is our plan and our hope and our intent to offer this, not just this coming year, but for years to come in the future. We see Greathearts Online as an important and vital branch of Greathearts, serving students in places where our brick and mortar schools, it would not be financially possible to go. But we still want to serve those families who want it. And so that is our plan and our intention, and we are working hard to make that a reality, however it might look and whatever form it might take.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's important. I think that's what's so exciting about Greathearts as an organization, as I've watched it over the years, is that Greathearts is steadfast about the mission and about the principles, and that these are the ideas and the readings and the set of knowledge that every student needs, so they can be a citizen and they can be a whole person. But there is flexibility about how that's delivered, and so bringing Greathearts to the online platform, it really is exciting, and it makes me happy to think about that there's a whole new set of students who will be able to experience this, and to to have a hope for a future full of choices. That's what it's brought for my family. So my son is on the autism spectrum, and I felt like at other schools we tried, he would just get underestimated or he would get left out. And every class he's been in, the Greathearts teachers have committed to including him and getting him involved, and even overcoming those communication issues so that he can participate in class. And I remember, so he started when Monte Vista opened, he was in second grade, and you mentioned poetry, and that was reciting poetry was the first moment when I think he felt really proud of himself, and he really felt like he belonged, because he recited a poem, and his teacher was just so proud of him that she took him to the headmaster's office so he could recite his poem, because I admit he had been to the headmaster's office before, not always under good circumstances, and she wanted him to experience success and approval, and showing his skills. And so this is like a hidden talent that I never knew, that he was so good at memorization, and it was so expressive about how he would recite the poems. And so I'm excited about, if kids across Texas, even if there's not a Greathearts brick and mortar campus in their community, that they'll be able to experience moments like that as well, for their own children, that that sense of success and belonging, and being part of this long-standing tradition.
Yeah, it's an exciting moment to serve students, to partner with families. One of the most important things for us anywhere, but for me with Greathearts Online, is we really need to listen to families a lot and often, and be really transparent, because as what families want sometimes is not the same thing, and we need to hear those different perspectives and try to do what is right and provide the flexibilities that we're able to, while still providing an excellent classical liberal arts education. And so it'll be a journey, but it's an exciting one for the opportunity it affords to hundreds and eventually tens of thousands of kids across Texas and beyond.
Yeah. So I want to jump in and look at some of the comments. We have a mom who, she says, "You love poetry presentations." And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
this shows how, yeah, yes, kids are doing distance learning, but they're still doing things like reciting poetry and having that joy. So thank you, Gloria. Um, let's see. Oh, Dea says that purple is also her favorite color, just like in Annika's sketchbook. And then let's see. Oh, Tiffany is our SA Charter Moms board chair, and she's also a Greathearts mom, and her kids love swimming, so that's been a really important part of their Greathearts experience. And silver linings, that is a good point, Tiffany. I think that Greathearts has adapted and grown, and is now succeeding on this new platform. Let's see. Gloria asks, when will online school start? So I guess the answer is it depends, because you're gathering information from the parents who sign up the interest list. So I guess, Gloria, have your friends fill out the form on the interest list. The link is in the blog post. And then when they do that, they can give their input, right? If they want, is it November, December, or October, I'm sorry, or January for the start date, right?
Yeah, please fill out the interest list. Give us your feedback. I mean, we are looking through that. I got back, access to the website, and I'm reading through it daily. Just really eager to hear what people are saying and thinking and wanting. So please share that. Inga, you talked about the silver lining. One thing that we're really grateful for is back in the spring, we had 90% of families say that the work my children is being asked to do is meaningful and substantial. And that's with 91% of families taking that survey. And just I think 2 weeks ago, we gave a fall survey. 93% of families agree that the work is meaningful and substantial. And we've raised the bar in a lot of ways with regards to expectations for everyone. And then 88% of families agree that the quality of instruction has improved from the spring. And so we're forever grateful for our teachers and for our leaders, for the amazing work that they're doing. We're grateful for all of you for your feedback. And we're going to continue to learn and grow as an organization, because we are a learning and growing organization. We are a listening organization, and we're going to stay true to the things that we've committed to staying true to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's a good note to end it on, unless do you have any other sort of closing thoughts, or I guess my call to action to folks is the interest list. But Chris, do you have any closing thoughts about what you hope Greathearts Online will grow into?
Well, Inga, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be on here with you today. So thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for sharing and for leading in the San Antonio and beyond charter and education space. It's been wonderful getting to know you over the past few months, and we're just really grateful for your support and for making sure that families are well educated and have options. We want to be able to allow all families to choose. And Greathearts Online gives choice to so many families who otherwise would not feel like they had a choice, or actually don't have a choice. And so we want to support your choice, whatever that looks like. We're excited about the work we're doing. We have a lot of successes to build upon, and things to get better at. And it's with that humility for the things we don't know yet, and for the feedback we'll get from you, that will cause us to get better of how we approach this work. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited about it. I'm glad that it's out in the open now. Right now, the board has approved it, and the funders have approved it, and the TA waiver is in place, and now we get to talk about it, and you get to get feedback about it, and I'm eager to see how the numbers grow and to see this come to fruition. So
as am I.
Okay. Well, thank you, Curtis. And then I hope either you or maybe Dea can, I see more comments popping up, but maybe y'all can jump in on the Facebook page and answer some more questions, because I think people are really excited about this.
Great. We'll be sure to review in the coming days. If everyone saw it on our website, 24 hours after that launch, we got a lot of good questions. I've been closely following SA Charter moms and hearing your questions and thinking about, oh, I need to clarify that. So there is a frequently asked question online. As we see patterns and questions, we'll continue to update that website, update those FAQs to provide clarity. And one thing that I'm excited to share is that Dea, Banky, and I will be doing Wednesday info sessions starting next Wednesday for the next few weeks. More information on that coming soon. But we'll be giving Wednesday info sessions to start to answer questions, share more information, make sure that there's a dialogue. As much as there can be a dialogue in a one-directional online forum, but we want to have that dialogue and that conversation and openness as we go down this new road together.
Well, that sounds wonderful. I'm cheering all the way.
Thank you, Inga.
All right, take care, Kurtis.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Okay.